What's going on, you guys? FPL News. I'm your host, Devin. I'm here with my guy, Chris Lee, coach, councilman, father, and also a candidate in Tuskegee's upcoming mayor election. How we doing today?
Hey, we doing good, Devin. Thanks for having me today. It's good to be here and good to talk to not only the students but the entire community here at Tuskegee.
Okay, getting into it. After reading through your plan, I seen where you aim to bridge the gap between the city and the university. With that being said, what would the internship pathways look like for students that participate?
So, as you said, that is one of my top priorities to bridge that gap between campus and community. I really want that transition to be seamless. I don't want any division. We have the gates there, but as a community, the students are the backbone of Tuskegee, and not just from an economic standpoint, but the heart and the spirit and the innovation that the students bring really, not just now, over the years have made Tuskegee community what it is. So I plan to do exactly what you said. I plan to have a direct and intentional internship pathway for students who are interested in getting involved in every aspect of city government. We have so many departments in our city where we could use and value the innovation of the students and not just learning about the ins and outs of politics, but communication, engineering, so many different areas where, again, it's a mutually beneficial situation where we can help students get experience and the students can help us actually get things done here in the city.
Yes, sir. Getting into it. So, as far as housing goes, what are the stages to your housing reform plan?
Yeah, so I think that the low-hanging fruit is if we can capture the student population in Tuskegee, that can help us get on the fast track to growth. So it's really the mantra, if you build it, they'll come. I think right now, if we built a new, modern, upscale apartment complex in Tuskegee, just say 500 beds in that unit, we would immediately get some of the growth that we're looking for as far as new restaurants, new nightlife, things that appeal to the students. I mean, I think personally there would be a waiting list of students if it was something like that here. Unfortunately, students are coming from all over the country, so they're looking for things that are comparable that they have in their hometown, whether that's West Coast or DMV, wherever, Atlanta, wherever they're from. So I think that we really have to kind of step up the standard of living here so that they're not going to go to Auburn, because a lot of times it's not even about the cost. You know what I'm saying? Students will go to Auburn now and pay more just to get those amenities. So I think if we build something nice like that here, then we'll get that kind of interest in students living in the city. And when we do that, we'll be able to grow our economic base. We'll get more restaurants, as I said before, more nightlife, more activities that students want to have and should have, to make their college experience enjoyable.
But with that being said, so what industries are you seeking to bring to Tuskegee, and how will these companies benefit from our city?
So over the past few years, we've seen the growth of industry in Tuskegee, primarily the Korean automotive industry. Many of you all might have heard of Sam Key, which is located in our industrial park. There's also a couple other interested companies that will probably get announced soon that will also be developing plants. Those things are good, but I think the true potential is black-owned business and black industry here in Tuskegee. I want to see us be an innovative hub, a black Wall Street, if you will, for black tech companies that are up and coming. I think that if we can attract that kind of synergy here, we're going to really get the energy and the circulation of the dollar like we want to see in our community. So that's what I'm going to be intentional about. I'm actually just got out the phone right before I got here with Dr. Ken Harris, who's the National Executive Director of the National Black Business League. And that was an organization that was started by Booker T. Washington. So the blueprint is not something new that we have to create. We just have to evolve it to today's time. And I think a part of that is not just workforce development, but entrepreneurship training, development, and really, again, being intentional about empowering entrepreneurs who can set up shop here in Tuskegee. So even locally, internally, I think we need to focus on people that have skills, that have talents, such as the students, and we should give them the fuel that they need to excel, because when they excel, we're going to grow and excel as a city as well.
So beyond recruitment, what steps will you take to support small businesses and entrepreneurs who are already in the city, that's been residing in the city for some years now?
Hey, great question right there. I think it starts with being intentional. I know I've said that word a bunch of times, intentional. But we have to be intentional in how we spend our city budget. there are not really too many entities, other than the city utilities board that can really make that direct impact. So we have to be intentional about supporting our black businesses. Even if we're just having a lunch for the councilman or for the community, we have to make sure that we're supporting local businesses. Whether it's content creators, we have to give them those opportunities and pathways to show their craft. And when it comes down to looking at all the contracts that the city provides, one of the first thing I'm going to do is go through every one of those contracts and look for opportunities to support local entrepreneurs. Exactly what you said. And if there's a situation now where we're supporting somebody out of town and there's somebody local that can do the same job, I want to make sure that that local person gets that opportunity every time.
Okay. So, after reading through your campaign, I noticed that you mentioned a lot about tech, about bringing the city online, just basically bringing the city to 2025. So, with that being said, what accountability measures will you put in place so residents can see progress on road repairs, cleanups, and beautification projects, in the city?
So communication is the key. Without it, all things fall apart. I think that's where it starts. I think it starts with being transparent. So that's what we have to do. We have to, even if we can't solve that problem right away, we have to let the citizens know that we hear your concerns and we're working on it. I don't think that's being done enough right now. So I want to make sure that we're transparent with our social media, making sure all of our meetings are online. And like you said, just hearing the citizens' concerns. I think that we need to set up online suggestion box situation where a student or any member of the community can express their concern. We acknowledge it, that we hear it, and that person deserves some kind of response. Like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to have the money to do everything that everybody wants to see, but we at least need to let people know that we're working on those issues, and I think that's where it starts.
Okay, so getting to our next question, the land bank and the land trust. The idea could revitalize abandoned properties. How will you ensure transparency in how properties are chosen and developed?
So the land bank is one of the things that is innovative for Tuskegee, but it has been tried in several other cities with success. Downtown Montgomery is a good example of how a lot of those abandoned properties were revitalized. They were turned into lofts, and they were made available to people who proved that they had the capacity to actually do the job. They'll have to sign the bond and show that they have the money first and foremost, and also have to be bound to a timeline to get that work done. So I think that's how we do it. A lot of the properties are put through the abatement process that the city already has in place. We have ordinances set up to where you have to maintain your property. It controls overgrowth, and a lot of these properties have already fallen into that category where the owners have been notified several times, and now the city's in a position where we can take action with abatement. So once the city takes over that property, then we're going to create a system to make those properties available. And again, they could be as low as $1, because I think that, to encourage people to really make that investment to revitalize property. Some of these houses have good bones, but it's going to take a lot of work. And on paper, it might not be necessarily a worthy investment if you have to pay a high price for the house and then put another, lot of money in the house. So it will be a transparent system. We're going to work out the details, whether it's a lottery system or whether it's some kind of system that is fair, legal, and equitable. But we're going to make sure that, the main thing is we're going to make sure that the properties are going to go into the hands of people who are not just going to sit on them, but they're actually going to work towards our vision of getting these neighborhoods revitalized.
With tourism in mind, how will you balance economic development while protecting the authenticity and integrity of Tuskegee's history?
Man, what you just said right there is one of the very most important things with me. And it starts with reclaiming our historic legacy. We all know the important history that Tuskegee has and the impact that we've made on not just the nation, but the world. I don't think there's a small town in America that has had the impact that we have, per capita. We talk about the Tuskegee Airmen, George Washington Carver, of course, Booker T. Washington. These are things that are studied in history books by kids and adults all across the world. So we have to capitalize on that first and foremost. We have to make sure that we're marketing ourselves to the world. But even more important than that, we have to live by those principles here. And again, I talk about that blueprint of Booker T. Washington. A lot of people forget that during those times, the students literally made the bricks that the buildings that are still standing right now, they made those bricks. But not only did they make them and build here, they sold those bricks across the country. You know, it was economic. It was an economic engine to really get the university going. So I think that we have to reclaim that legacy. You know, it's something that we're all proud of. But when people get off of that exit, we have to give them opportunities to spend money so that dollar will circulate here and we can continue to rebuild the new legacy of Tuskegee. And that's really what I'm important on. I love the history. We stand tall on the shoulders of all that history, but I really feel that I've been chosen to lead that next Tuskegee Renaissance and put us back on that platform where Tuskegee is making an impact now in the 21st century like we did back in those days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you presented a well, formulated plan, very well rounded, using all the resources that are in front of you. So to end off this interview, I'm gonna end it off with this question: how will you measure success when it comes to job? No, wait, wrong question. Let me run it back. I'll clip that right there. Okay. How will you measure success when it comes to job creation and economic growth during your first term?
So I think it's important to, state again that all of this isn't going to happen overnight. I'll be in office once I'm elected for 4 years a term. So I think we need to look at things one by one, project by project. You know, if you're taking a bite out of a dinosaur, they say it's one bite at a time, right? So that's the challenge that we have right now with all the issues in Tuskegee. But I think specifically when it comes to job creation, I think we're gonna quantify every new business that we establish here, how many jobs they bring. That's something to be proud of. Even if it's a mom and pop and they're employing 2 or 3 people, those are 2 or 3 new jobs, 2 or 3 opportunities. So, I'm going to be just as proud of those as the factories that we have coming. And another important thing to remember, if we can bring, 50 new mom and pops and hiring 5 people, that equals the same number of, jobs as a big plant coming in. So we can't discredit the small business owner. We have to give them the opportunities for innovation. And I'm going to look to empower small business owners through an incubator system where potentially we could have a building or something that the city owns where we're giving small business owners, entrepreneurs, a place to start out their business that'll be lower overhead than maybe them getting their own building, to get off their feet. Those are the kind of things I think we need to do, because once we establish some of these brands, they're not just limited to serving Tuskegee. We can create some national brands here in Tuskegee and, again, make this a mecca of black business, for America.
I hope to see you guys out at the polls August 26th. Would you have anything you would like to leave with the voters?
Hey, this is your chance now to make an impact here in Tuskegee. A lot of times students feel like their voice isn't heard, it doesn't matter. Well, you have a chance now to elect somebody that is going to really look out for your interests. I'm the youngest candidate in the race. I know I'm a lot older than a lot of you guys listening to me right now, but I still understand it wasn't too long ago that I was in college myself. And so I know how important it is to have a good college experience and what that's going to do to help Tuskegee University not only recruit new students, but retain the students that are already here. So we want you living in Tuskegee. We want you shopping in Tuskegee. And I think that's really going to give us an opportunity to grow the fastest in the city. So I'm going to be intentional about catering to the students. And I look forward to including your ideas and internships and other opportunities as well here in the city.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we hope to see you as mayor. We have to have you come sit down at the White House. We appreciate you for coming to, pull up on us and supporting our campaign.
Oh, yeah. Anytime. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Yes, sir.
it.